Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip, as we do every day, giving you the latest news, of course, what players are linked with Manchester United. I only did one video yesterday because I was currently busy yesterday, so I do apologise about that. But big breaking news came out yesterday, saying that Manchester United have reportedly not agreed a £55 million fee for Bissaka from Crystal Palace. This was actually stemming from Duncan Castles. He said Manchester United have come to an agreement with Crystal Palace, and obviously £55 million. I do presume will make him the most expensive fullback in world football and all that. So yeah, we've agreed around £55 million fee for him, and this is very good news indeed. Obviously we do know he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets. Obviously we do know that he's been one of our priority targets, and we do know that Bissaka of course is predominantly a right back. But we do know we've recently had two bids turned down for Bissaka. Most recently we had a £50 million bid turned down for him. Obviously it wasn't a we didn't offer £50 million up front. Obviously it was 35 million up front, with 15 million in bonuses and all that. But obviously Crystal Palace didn't like the structure of the offer, and there was basically saying that they want around £50 million up front. Obviously we also had a bid turned down before that of £40 million for Bissaka. So initially Crystal Palace value from between 55 to 60 million pounds. But like I said, it could be looking very imminent. He's going to be our second signing this summer. Obviously, Bissaka did inform Crystal Palace that he does want to join Manchester United this summer. Obviously, we have been in negotiations with Crystal Palace. I think since like the weekend we've held further more negotiations over coming to an agreement on a fee. But he is a really good player, and obviously we have got issues defensively. Obviously that was proven last season because we conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season, and obviously we do need to see vast improvements of course going on into this season, because last season was very disappointing. We finished sixth. Of course we didn't win many silverware, so it's very essential that we do get our number one targets this summer. I know we're not in Champions League football for next season. That's always very pivotal, when you do want to get your number one targets. But it's looking like that Bissaka of course is going to be coming in, because like I said, we do need a right back, because we need a replacement for Antonio Valencia. We do know he's left the club. Obviously he served a decade at Manchester United, did Antonio Valencia. We definitely need an upgrade to Ashley Young. Obviously he's been here 8 years. Obviously he's no longer got that ability to fulfill that right back position as Ashley Young. Obviously he was our first choice right back last season. Obviously it was a bad mistake for Manchester United giving Ashley Young that new 1 year extension, and he's past his sell by date now. He's 33, nearly 35 years of age. And we also need a cover up for Diego Dalot, and obviously I do believe Bissaka would be the right solution. Obviously he's British as well, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United this summer, because there's been quite a lot of British players on his agenda and all that. But Bissaka Bissaka only made his senior debut in February of last year for Crystal Palace, and I think he's made about 42 senior appearances. He has still got 3 years left on his contract with Crystal Palace. But so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. Obviously I think he's been a Crystal Palace player since like the age of 11. Obviously graduated from their youth system and all that, and when he was younger, he was initially an out-and-out winner, but as he was developing, he got rotated as a right back, did Bissaka. But I think his defensive capabilities are very good. Obviously, last season established himself as a first-team regular for Crystal Palace, and I think he also won Crystal Palace's Player of the Year. So looking at it, he could actually be our second signing this summer. Obviously, we've got our first signing on the board through Daniel James. Obviously, that's been fully confirmed. Obviously, it's our first signing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, but obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to want to build on that and bring another 4 or 5 more players in to Manchester United and all that. But like I said, £200 million should be enough for us to get around 5 players on the board. And like I said, if we do sell Pogba, if we do sell Lukaku and all that, it will help us with our rebuilding process, and it will of course help us with our transition, because I think we can raise around £200 million at least, for the departures of Lukaku and the departures of Paul Pogba and all that. But you can see the deficiencies in the squad, and obviously we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to build a squad, worthy the club's history. I think, we've worked out his policy for this summer. I think we are moving away from the actual policy, of signing them established players. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to recommend a number of young players to come back. And Bissaka has got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. He's only 21 years of age, and obviously he's going to want to rejuvenate his career, take his footballing career to the next level. So we have agreed around a £55 million fee, which I think is going to make him the most expensive fullback in world football. But there has been a lot of talks going on quite recently about Max Aarons from Norwich. I think I updated you about Max Aarons, I think it was the other week I updated you about Max Aarons. Now, obviously, he's primarily a right back. He can play as a left back, but he's primarily a right back. Now, I think we are seeing Max Aarons as an alternative, to Bissaka. So if we don't get a deal fully concluded for Bissaka, we are looking at the possibility, of trying to get a deal more than line for Max Aarons. Now, obviously, Max Aarons is going to substantially, cost us, less than Bissaka, so he's a cheaper alternative than Bissaka. But I think Norwich are reluctant, to let Max Aarons go. I think also Crystal Palace have been in for him, because obviously if Crystal Palace lose Bissaka, they're going to want a replacement for him. So they've been in for Max Aarons. Max Aarons, it was only his first season in the senior squad last season with Norwich and all that. I think he made about 40 odd appearances. Initially, he joined Norwich's youth academy in 2016, so he was in their youth academy for a couple of years. But last season, broke in the senior squad. Obviously, won the championship with Norwich last season. I think he initially, began his career with Luton, when he was a lot younger. I think he actually, he did begin his career with Luton, did Max Aarons. I think he signed a contract with Norwich last year. If I'm right, I think he's under contract with Norwich until 2023. He is only 19 years of age, so he is 2 years younger than Bissaka, and plus he's British. So reportedly, he's on Manchester United's agenda. But he would be he would be a cheaper solution than Bissaka. But I think Norwich are reluctant, of course, to sell him. We do know, obviously, that Thomas Meunier has been on our agenda. Obviously, he's been another right back, because he has been quite a few right backs on our agenda. And again, like I said, Thomas Meunier, will substantially, cost us a lot less than when Bissaka. It came out the other week saying that PSG, want around £25 million for Thomas Meunier. It did say Manchester United and Arsenal have been battling out for these services, because Arsenal were in there. But from his own preference, he said he wants to make the move to Manchester United as Meunier, because he has been a Manchester United fan, since he was a child and all that. He's 27, he's an experienced fullback, predominantly a right back, but can play in other positions. He's got goals in him, he's got assists in him and all that. And I do believe he'd be fantastic for Manchester United. Obviously, he's got a year left on his deal with PSG. Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. He has been at PSG 3 years as Thomas Meunier. Like I said, Meunier was, a first team, start regularly, when Umar was at PSG. But since Umar left, Thomas Meunier has found himself his two requirements. So this is probably the main factor reason why he's being linked to a move away from PSG this summer. Like I said, only a year left on his deal with PSG. Like I said, he's been there 3 years, but I do believe he's got all the attributes, to definitely, succeed in the Premier League as Thomas Meunier. And I think he'd exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. So obviously, he's been on our agenda, but we've definitely got to address that right hand side. We've got to definitely get a right back in, get a right winning win, and all that. That's very, very imperative indeed. I think on that left hand side, I think we're okay now on that left hand side. Like I said, we've got Daniel James in. He can play on each flank. Can Daniel James? He can play as an attacking mid, but we do see you do see the best of him on that left hand side. So that's why I do presume that where Manchester United will put him. So I think we're okay on that left hand side. Like I said, we definitely need a central defender. Well, I think we need two central defenders, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. We definitely need someone who can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. That's very, very imperative, of course. As I actually updated you in regards to Paul Pogba yesterday. Obviously, I give you the latest news about him. I was reading reports yesterday about him. It did say Manchester United are set to hand Paul Pogba a loyalty bonus worth around 3.78 million, and I think he's set to be given this payment at the beginning of next month. Is Paul Pogba, maybe to beginning of next month, maybe to convince him to stay the club. I think reportedly, we are willing to offer him a long-term contract, worth £500,000 a week, to convince, Paul Pogba, to stay at Manchester United. We've offered him, a long-term contract worth 500 grand a week. But we do know it came out on Sunday. Obviously, Paul Pogba had told Tokyo reporters, that he's seeking for a new challenge. He wants to leave Manchester United, and he publicly announced that he wants to leave Manchester United for the first time he publicly announced this. But yeah, he does want to leave Manchester United reportedly, and he's basically, he's seeking for a new challenge, as he did basically say. But he has been relentlessly, linked to move away from Old Trafford, and we do know he's been linked with Juventus. We do know he's been linked to Real Madrid, and it's Juventus and Real Madrid, of course, that are battling now for his services. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he's doing everything he can, to try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is. Initially, it was in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to build a side around Paul Pogba. But I think recent reports are now basically saying that Juventus could be in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for him, because I think now there has been a change of scenery. I think now Paul Pogba's first choice preference is actually Juventus. It was initially Real Madrid his first choice preference, but I think it's actually Juventus now his first choice preference. But he could be open to making a return back to Turin. He did have 4 good years in Turin. Did Paul Pogba, and he exceeded expectation levels, but he hasn't really replicated this since he did make the return to Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £89 million for him, obviously our most expensive sign. Like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players, and obviously, especially in recent years, Pogba 89 million, Lukaku 75 million. Like I said, it's not always about spending big on players. It's not always about getting them well Galactico, getting them well established players and all that, because it doesn't always guarantee you success, and it doesn't always get you in that commanding position, as that is a prime example and all that. But yeah, he could be open to making a return back to Juventus. Juventus have stepped their interest up in him, because it came out the other week saying that Juventus are interested in re-signing him. It also said last week that the Juventus director had travelled to London, to hold a negotiation with Manchester United over the possibility of re-signing Paul Pogba. And it said also Juventus had been in negotiations with his agent Raiola and all that. More than likely, Juventus would have to offload at least one of their essential players, or maybe 2 of them, to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think Juventus would be able to afford Paul Pogba outright. But he did say one of the players the other week that was willing to offer us, was Paul Dybala. Obviously, we do know that Paul Dybala has been on our current agenda. That was one of the players that were willing to offer us. I think, recent reports have actually, come out and actually said Juventus are willing to offer us Douglas Costa plus cash in a bid, to sign Paul Pogba. So they are willing to offer us Douglas Costa. Obviously, Douglas Costa has been linked to a move to Manchester United in the past and all that. So probably Juventus would have to offload at least one of their players. But Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin and all that. But like I said, Real Madrid, I still believe are still in there for Paul Pogba. I don't think, Real Madrid are keen on the straight cash payment, to be quite honest, because, we've indicated that Paul Pogba is not for sale, but I think, we would accept in the region of around £150 million, because this is what we are demanding want. But Real Madrid, of course, are reluctant, to pay up to £150 million for Paul Pogba. But yeah, he's been on Real Madrid's agenda, for quite some time. Even Paul Pogba, was talking a lot about Real Madrid, a while back, about his dream, his dream of play. He said his dream of playing for Real Madrid at some point, and at some point in his career, he does want to play for Real Madrid. Zinedine Zidane wants to get a deal over the line for him. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane has signed 5 players so far for Real Madrid this summer and all that, but I don't think they're keen on paying up to £150 million for him. Obviously, it came out the other week saying that Real Madrid were willing to offer us Gareth Bale in a transfer offer for Paul Pogba. I don't know whether Manchester United will be willing to go along with that. Recent reports have actually come out about Bale, actually saying his agent saying he will not be sanctioned out on loan, because his agent saying he won't be going out on loan. I think from Bale's perspective, he's got no intentions of leaving Real Madrid, but obviously reports came out the other week saying that we were interested in getting Gareth Bale on loan. He said we wanted to get him on a long season loan, but it was potentially 2 seasons with an option to extend it for the further year. But he says we inquired about getting him on loan. We're willing to pay his wages off and all that. And this is what it basically said, and we was willing to pay a loan fee. And he did say if Real Madrid did do this, it would knock £50 million off their wage bill in the next couple of seasons. Obviously, Real Madrid would, from their own preference, want to get rid of him permanently rather than get rid of him on loan. But obviously, it's going to be hard for Real Madrid to get rid of him permanently, based on his substantial wages and all that. Came out the other week saying that Real Madrid want around £75 million to him. So basically, Real Madrid are looking to recruit the majority of the money that they did pay for him from Tottenham 6 years ago, because they paid £85 million to him from Tottenham. But like I said, I've got reservations about Gareth Bale, and he has been relentlessly linked to a move to Old Trafford, since 2013, and the rumours have continued to persist since then. But he's too inconsistent now. If you asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have took Gareth Bale, but too inconsistent now, as he has proven in the last couple of seasons. Plus, he's aging up. He's 30 next month. He's Gareth Bale, and plus he's too injury prone. I think he can play on the left. He can also play on the right. He has still got 3 years left on his contract with Real Madrid. But his ratio is still very good, to say that he's injury prone. Obviously, he scored 102 goals in 231 games for Real Madrid, and I think he's provided them about 65 assists. So Zinedine Zidane confirmed that Gareth Bale has no future at Real Madrid. He's confirmed that that he's no longer in his plans at Real Madrid and all that. But I just don't think Bale has got any intentions of leaving Real Madrid, and that is the problem. But possibly could Bale be still part of the deal with Paul Pogba, because that's one of the obvious players that Real Madrid are willing to offer us in exchange for Paul Pogba. But like I said, now Juventus could be in the ascendancy. Reports have come out saying that they're willing to offer us cash plus Douglas Costa in exchange for Paul Pogba and all that. So whether Manchester United are willing to accept this or not, I do not know, because we're doing everything we can to try and keep Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United in his current deal, with an option to extend it by a further year, and he's on about 290 grand a week. But if he was to sign this new contract with 500 grand a week, he'd get like a £200,000 pay rise with Pogba. Obviously, it came out the other week, saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid, to convince him to remain at the football club and all that. And I think it even did say that the other day that Paul Pogba was even willing to go on strike, to force through a move from Manchester United to Real Madrid and all that. And it did initially say he was planning to put a transfer request in if it didn't work him, with him putting his transfer request in, he was obviously willing to go on strike. But we do know how much of an imperative player Paul Pogba is, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer, he's working on trying to bring the right players to Manchester United, who he thinks is going to elevate Manchester United forward, who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks, of course, are going to fit the history of the club and all that. And he's also working on keeping his imperative players at the club, and Paul Pogba is very, very imperative, of course, even though he hasn't really been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been. Obviously, we've seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form. We mainly saw it in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was interim manager. That's when Paul Pogba was in scintillating form. I think Paul Pogba last season, I think he scored about 16 goals and provided 11 assists in around 47 games. I think this was obviously not in all competitions and all that. But he's 26 years of age and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. But maybe there's a couple of main factor reasons why he wants to leave the club, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, maybe he wants to be in Champions League football and all that, and he wants to be in Champions League football, winning trophies and stuff like that and competing. And obviously he's not experiencing this at Manchester United, of course. So I probably still believe that he is going to be leaving the club, but he's not going to be. He's not going to be offloaded in Juventus. If he goes to Juventus won't get him in a straight cash payment. They'll probably involve one of their players plus cash, like it's just said. If he goes to Real Madrid, probably Real Madrid more than likely will offer one of their players because they're not keen on paying him up to £150 million. But obviously, we had Paul Pogba, when he was younger under the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, it didn't work out because obviously he was due to a limited. I think he made a couple of first team appearances, but based on limited appearances, obviously, Ferguson let Paul Pogba go on a free transfer. I think this was back in 2009. We got him from Lee Harvey. A couple of years later, made a couple of first team appearances. But like I said, the main factor reason why I left on a free transfer was based on limited appearances. Then he went and had 4 good years in Turin. But Paul Pogba with Manchester United has won the Europa League. Obviously, he's won the League Cup with us. Obviously, that came in his second season at the club. That came in Jose Mourinho's first season. But Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho, of course, left the club because obviously, Jose Mourinho and Paul Pogba had a bad relationship and all that. And he was subject to a lot of transfer speculation last year. I think there was talks of him going to Barcelona in January. I think, if I'm right, was it? I think it was last year, of course, that Juventus were in for him. So, like I said, I think Paul Pogba, will probably, be going. But, we've been looking at, possible, replacements for Paul Pogba. But that midfield area, of course, is one of the, pivotal areas where we do need to strengthen up and all that. Because without Paul Pogba there, we are lacking creativeness in that midfield. Don't forget, Ander Herrera has left. So we're going to need a replacement for him. So who could replace Paul Pogba at Manchester United? And that is the question I'm going to ask you all. Who could replace him? Now, we do know Bruno Fernandes has been on our agenda for quite some time now. I'm still very confident that we can get a deal over the line for Bruno Fernandes, even though quite a few teams have inquired about his services. Reports came out of Portugal the other week saying that Liverpool have entered the race. It did come out the other day saying that Liverpool had allegedly put around a €45 million bid in, put a €45 million bid in for for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, 45 million euros equates to around 40 million in pounds sterling, but I don't think this will be enough, to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload him. Obviously, Tottenham had been in there for him, but recent reports I read about that saying that Tottenham, have pulled them out of the race now for Bruno Fernandes. Also, Manchester City were in for him. I think also Atletico Madrid have been in for him. So quite a few teams have inquired about his services. But we do know it's been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that had been battling out for his services. But Manchester City, of course, are no longer in for him. I think Sporting Lisbon want at least around £50 million. He did say the other week, we are preparing to spend around £70 million for Bruno Fernandes. He did initially say, we had a scheduled meeting, to get a deal finalised there for Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes did say, he would talk to he would talk to Sporting Lisbon about leaving if a club came in with an offer that he couldn't turn down and all that. But yeah, he still says he follows the Italian football and all that. Could he make the return back to Italy? Because obviously Bruno Fernandes when he was younger spent the majority of his career in Italy with Sampdoria and Udinese and all that. But I'd still say we're in the ascendancy of getting a deal over the line for him. He is primarily an attacking midfielder. He's only 24 years of age. Obviously he's been at Sporting Lisbon a couple of seasons, so he's tied up in Portugal really well, and he's exceeded expectation levels. And I do believe if he comes to the Premier League, he'll exceed expectation. I do believe he's got all the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League, and he's had a good couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon, and I do believe he can replicate this in the Premier League. But let's be honest, he hasn't really played to the highest level as yet. It said Ed Woodward was hesitant over our move for Bruno Fernandes the other week because I think Ed Woodward has got reservations about us, spending big on players who he doesn't think, of course, are going to step up to the mark. But I think definitely Bruno Fernandes would be the right solution. He scored 31 goals for Sporting Lisbon last season, I think, in all competitions. His movement's really, really good, and I think he'd dramatically improve our midfield. That depth in our midfield had been them goals that would do need from that midfield. So obviously you would see Bruno Fernandes as the adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Bruno Fernandes got a contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. His initial release clause is around £86 million. But yeah, there's been quite a few teams in there for him. Obviously, quite recently, there's been a lot of talks going on about Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. Now, it does say that Tottenham are in for Giovanni Lo Celso. I actually think it's one of Tottenham's main priority targets is Giovanni Lo Celso. But he says, Manchester United also being in for him. Now, he is only 23 years of age. I think reports were reflected out last month, saying that Tottenham had put a bid in for him of around £50 million with add-ons included, I think. But reportedly, Real Betis had currently turned this down. I think Real Betis, do rate, Giovanni Lo Celso at around £70 million. So I think they'd want somewhere in the region of around between 70 or £80 million if they were willing to offload Giovanni Lo Celso. So Tottenham have had a bid turned down for him. Obviously, as I said, he got reported last month. Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around £88 million in his deal with Real Betis. Obviously, last season was only his first season with Real Betis. Obviously, Real Betis did get him last summer from PSG. Well, initially he was on loan for the majority of last season, but obviously back in April, Real Betis had made the deal permanent, and obviously I think they paid around £20 million to make the deal permanent. So if Real Betis do offload him, obviously PSG do benefit from it, because obviously PSG do get a percentage of any sale. I think the percentage is around 20%, that PSG do get, but he's only 23 years of age. I think he's actually primarily a central midfielder, Giovanni Lo Celso. So he does say Manchester United in for him, he's Argentinian, but I think it came out a couple of weeks ago, or was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, should I say, that for me his own preference, he wants to make the move to Tottenham, does Giovanni Lo Celso. So do you think we could see him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba? But Tottenham obviously want to do transfer activity this summer, because obviously they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows, and obviously Mauricio Pochettino wants back in this summer. Obviously I think he has threatened to resign as Tottenham manager, if he doesn't get back to this summer, Mauricio Pochettino. But yeah, they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. I think the last player they signed was Lucas Moura back in January 2018. And they've got quite a few midfielders on their agenda, of course. Obviously, if Christian Eriksen's linked to a move to Real Madrid, obviously if he goes to Real Madrid, Tottenham, of course, are going to want a replacement for him. But initially they were in for Bruno Fernandes, but now they have pulled them out of the race. They were seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative, to Giovanni Lo Celso, of course. But yeah, Tottenham haven't done any activity in the last couple of windows. Obviously, other midfielders that we've been in for, has obviously, been Yori Tillemans from Leicester. There has been a lot of talks about him, going on lately. I didn't read up much about Yori Tillemans yesterday, but the last time I read up about him was actually, a couple of days ago. Obviously, Manchester United are in for him, but it actually said, he'd been offered the chance, to sign Yori Tillemans, but reportedly, we've rejected the opportunity, to complete a deal for Yori Tillemans. Obviously, I think he'd be a fantastic, adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. I think he's primarily a box-to-box midfielder, can also play him as attacking midfielder, Yori Tillemans. Only 22 years of age. Obviously, has had about 5-6 months of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, he had been on loan with Leicester since January, but obviously now his loan spell has ended with Leicester, so he has made the return to Monaco. He has made the return to Monaco now as Yori Tillemans, but I think Yori Tillemans confirmed from his own perspective he will not, be staying with Monaco next season. So more than likely next season, Yori Tillemans, will be playing his trade elsewhere. Man United have been in for him. I think also Manchester City have been in there for him. I think Tottenham have been in there for Yori Tillemans. But Leicester reportedly, have been in negotiations, with Monaco over getting him on a permanent deal, because actually, Yori Tillemans was pivotal in Leicester Yori Tillemans was pivotal in Leicester's transformation under Brendan Rodgers, and he did well throughout his loan spell, did Yori Tillemans, so this is why Leicester are keen on getting him on a permanent deal. He is available for a reasonable figure. I think, Monaco rate him at around £40 million. He's under contract with Monaco until 2022 and all that, but reports came out last week, saying that, we'd revived our interest. He said we have been in negotiation with his agent over a possible deal and all that, so obviously he's another midfielder that's been on our agenda, and again, I think he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba. I think it's looking likely, that Sean Longstaff is going to be coming in. Obviously, I read reports about Sean Longstaff the other week, and it did basically say, that we are closing in on around the £25 million deal for Sean Longstaff. And a £25 million deal for him. He's only 21 years of age. I think last season was his first season in the senior squad with Newcastle. I think, he's a box-to-box midfielder, is Sean Longstaff. I think, he didn't play the remainder, he didn't play the last couple of months of last season, due to that. I think he sustained a knee ligament injury, did Sean Longstaff. Plus, he's British, like I said. So, yeah, reportedly, he's been on Manchester United's agenda as Sean Longstaff. So it's looking very imminent, according to what I saw, that he's going to be coming in. So yeah, there's so many midfielders on our current agenda. Like I said, I do believe that we need a holding midfielder, because Matic isn't good enough. He's too inconsistent. I've got strong reservations about him. He's too slow. Plus, he's aging up, and I think he needs to go. But obviously, we do know that Matic is going to be next season. And I think we need a holding midfield. That's fast and tenacious. To be quite honest, Fellaini left back in January. Obviously, we do know that's got Montoya, where in my opinion, he's too inexperienced there at the moment. So I do believe that we need a holding midfielder. Yeah, I do believe that we need a holding midfielder, but I probably do believe that probably 3 or 4 players are going to leave Manchester United. Some are maybe 5 at the top. I think another problem with Manchester United as well, we have let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, that's been another issue. Obviously, we do know now Juan Mata has agreed a 3-year contract term, as I updated you the other day. Very shocked that we give Juan Mata a 3-year contract, because it actually was looking very imminent. He was going to be leaving Manchester United, Juan Mata. It was looking very, very likely that was going to happen, because I think his current deal expires on the 30th of June and all that, but we have been in negotiations some time getting Matt a new contract. Obviously, we said the other week that we'd offered him a new contract and all that, but I obviously I presumed it would have probably been a 1-year extension, or maybe 2 at the tops. I don't think Manchester United would have offered Juan Mata a long-term contract, reflecting on his age, because he is 31 years of age now. His Mata, he has lost that yard of pace, and initially he's basically used as a squad player now, because initially he doesn't get in the team Juan Mata. But I'm actually happy about this, because how much I like Juan Mata. I think he's been very consistent for Manchester United. Obviously, he has been here 5 years. Obviously, he's made 218 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, scored about 45 goals and all that. And obviously, with us, he's won the Europa League and League Cup. Obviously, that came in, in Jose Mourinho's first season. Obviously, he won the FA Cup with us. Obviously, that came under the Louis van Gaal era. But yeah, I think he's been very, very good servant to Manchester United. Obviously, I think it was Newcastle that inquired about his services. Also, Barcelona did inquire United about his services and all that. But yeah, Juan Mata's been in the Premier League about, what, 7, 8 years now, of course. In total, this was including his 2.5, 3 years he had with Chelsea when he was younger. But initially, he began his career in Spain and all that. So I think if he were going to leave, I think he'd probably wanted to make the return to Spain, because obviously, he began his career in Spain, like I said, with Real Madrid and Valencia and all that. But he has signed a 3-year contract, so this contract is going to take him, to the age of 34, and take him under contract, until I think 2022. So I actually am, very, very shocked about that. Obviously, with De Gea, as he updated you about him yesterday, there was actually no more additional information to give about David De Gea. It reportedly said now it's looking likely he's going to be staying at Manchester United now. He's David De Gea, after reportedly PSG have basically pulled out of the race now for David De Gea, because I think PSG are turning their attentions more on AC Milan's Donnarumma. Initially, David De Gea was linked with a £60 million move to PSG. Obviously, PSG have lost Buffon, so obviously they're going to want a replacement for him. So basically, I did say we're looking very imminent that David De Gea is going to be leaving Manchester United this summer. Don't get me wrong. We could still have, we could still have that risk, losing David De Gea on a free transfer next year. It depends if we can come to an agreement to get him a new contract. But we've been in negotiations trying to get David De Gea a new contract now, at least for the last 18 or 19 months. He did reportedly say David De Gea wants £350,000 a week, and reportedly, Manchester United are not willing to meet his wage demands and all that. But I said, if we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract, I think we do need to cash in for him this summer, because I think at full value for the goalkeeper, he's worth around £100 million. But we're not going to get £100 million for De Gea because he's in the final year of his contract. But we don't want to let him go on a free transfer next year, because that would be a calamity. But now PSG have reportedly opted out of the race, because they're now in for Donnarumma from AC Milan. But he has been at Manchester United 8 years as David De Gea. He's been a long servant here. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. Obviously, he's won everything here domestically. He's won the Club's Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 6 years and all. And hasn't really done much wrong in his 8-year period. I know he may cost some mistakes towards the back end last season, but obviously, that was mainly to do with the contractual situation and all that. But in his current deal at the moment, I think he's on about £200,000 a week. But if he was to pay him £350,000 a week, obviously, he'd get a £150,000 pay rise and all. So basically, he wants to be the highest player at the club, alongside Alexis Sanchez. But we do know Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea. Real Madrid have been linked to him a number of years. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting him in 2015, but due to fax machine, the deal, of course, never materialised. But I've admired his fantastic career at Manchester United. He's 28 years of age. He's still got a lot of development in him as David De Gea. But it is a possibility chance now that he could stay at the club for next season, because PSG have opted out of the race for him. But like I said, if David De Gea did go, I said, we do need a replacement. We need to buy a goalkeeper to replace him. I don't think it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to buy a goalkeeper to replace him, like I said, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was willing to promote Sergio Romero as our number one goalkeeper. Like I said, I've got reservations about that, because I don't think Romero is yet reliable enough, to become our number one goalkeeper. Obviously, we've got Dean Henderson, but like I said about Dean Henderson, he's too inexperienced at the moment. I think we need to orchestrate on, loaning, Dean Henderson out for another season, to gain him a bit more experience. But we definitely need to buy a goalkeeper, to replace David De Gea. There's been quite a few names mentioned who we could get in, Jan Blanc from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, Jordan Pickford's been spoken about in the past. Obviously, that Andrea Onana, from Ajax has been spoken about. But actually, David De Gea, could remain at the football club now. Obviously, as well, Rashford is in the final year of his deal. I think, we should be on the verge of getting him, Marcus Rashford, a contract extension, because we have been in talks, for quite some time, of trying to get Rashford a new contract. Obviously, I do believe he's still the long-term solution for Manchester United. He's the long-term solution for Manchester United, even though he has been inconsistent in the last couple of months and all that. But I don't think Manchester United are orchestrating on selling him out, but he is the long-term solution. Only 21 years of age. It's going to take Rashford, a couple of years, to get him to that level, where he does currently want to be and all that. But yeah, I do believe he's definitely the long-term solution for Manchester United. But yeah, I think we need to get, Marcus Rashford a contract term extension. That's very, very essential. Plays centrally, can play out wide, but obviously, we see the best of Rashford, when he's playing in more central position. But he did sustain quite a few injuries last season. I think that, did have a bad effect on his game. So we have let players' contracts run down. Obviously, I think it was a bad mistake for us, giving Smalling and Jones new long-term contracts. that was a very, very bad mistake, and they're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. I think we basically need to get rid of them because they've been 2 long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones of course has been here 8 years, and they've been long servants, like I said. But comparing them, I think Smalling's a much better defender than Phil Jones, but they are now too inconsistent. But like I said, this is why I said we need 2 central defenders, because the pair of them are not good enough. Obviously we've got Eric Bailly, but with Eric Bailly, he's initially lost his place in the team, and obviously I think Eric Bailly's Manchester United career has been affected. Amount of injuries sustained, his fallout under managers and all that. I think that's had a really, really bad effect on Eric Bailly's career. Probably Manchester United would be open to selling him, even though we do know when he's fully fit, he's a really good central defender. He's got a great potential and all that, and I think we're probably looking to recoup the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016. Obviously, quite recently as well, there has been a lot of talks about, Issa Diop, going on, Issa Diop from West Ham going on. Reportedly, he's one of our priority targets. Now, recent reports have basically said, it's going to cost us around £75 million, to get him on the board. So basically, West Ham have priced him out of the transfer market because obviously, they don't want to sell him, and this is why they are demanding an extortionate amount for him. But I think we need to forget about Issa Diop, because I don't think, Manchester United, would be willing to pay £75 million for his services. But he did say the other week that we was in for Issa Diop. He did say if from Issa Diop's preference, he's keen on making the move to Manchester United, and he's keen on making the move to Manchester United, but reportedly West Ham don't want to currently sell him, and he did say they want at least around £60 million for him, but now it's gone up to reportedly saying that they want around £75 million for Issa Diop. He's only 22 years of age. Obviously he's 6'4", so he's very, very tall, so I presume that he's very, very good in the air. Obviously has had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League, because last season was his debut season in the Premier League, with West Ham. Obviously made about 33 appearances. I think made about 38 appearances in all competitions and all that. Obviously, West Ham got him last summer from Toulouse for around £22 million. He did sign a 5-year contract last summer, and obviously he's still got 4 years remaining on his West Ham contract, so he's on the contract with them until 2023. But yeah, it says Manchester United have been in for him. Like I said, it came out the other day saying that we'd offered West Ham £40 million plus Phil Jones as part of a deal, as part of a deal, for Issa Diop. But reportedly, West Ham had instantly, turned this £40 million plus Phil Jones as part of the deal down. They turned this down, they West Ham. Well, initially, the player remained anonymous who we offered, with that £40 million, but it got revealed most recently that it was Phil Jones that we did currently offer. So West Ham are not willing to go along with that. Recent reports have said, that West Ham reportedly want Anthony Martial in exchange for Issa Diop, but obviously, Manchester United are going to turn this down, because we do know how much of an imperative player that Anthony Martial is. We've got no intentions of selling, of getting rid of Anthony Martial. Like I said, even though reports came out towards the back end of last season, saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was very, very frustrated with Anthony Martial. He said Solskjaer, was willing to sell him because Solskjaer was reflecting on his bad attitude in training that time. But obviously, the Glazers had overruled Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did his decision, to sell Anthony Martial, and obviously, he's going to be remaining at the football club. Obviously, he signed a 5-year contract, back in January, did Martial. Obviously, he has been at Manchester United, 4 years. I know his performance has been inconsistent in the last couple of months, but, he is still the long-term solution for Manchester United. He is only 23 years of age. Obviously, got him in Monaco back in 2015. We got him from Monaco. We potentially paid around £36 million for him. We paid £36 million for him, potentially rising up to around 57 or 58 million, based on goals and achievements and all that. But yeah, he has been at Manchester United, 4 years as Anthony Martial. I think in the Premier League for us, he's made about 113 appearances, scored about 35 goals, provided 17 assists. But he did well in his debut season at the club, back in 2015, did Anthony Martial. I think he actually scored on his, was it his debut against Liverpool when we did beat Liverpool 3-1. But yeah, Martial was subjected to quite a bit of transfer speculation, last summer, actually, when we had Jose Mourinho, because obviously, Jose Mourinho he had bad disputes over Anthony Martial. Mourinho wanted to get rid of him, and actually, been Ivan Perisic at the time, but obviously, Ed Woodward, blocked, Anthony Martial, from making a move from Manchester United. But if West Ham are reportedly willing to do any business for Issa Diop, they're reportedly, want Anthony Martial as part of the deal. But obviously, Manchester United are not going to be, going to go along with this. Obviously, Harry Maguire as well is a priority target for Manchester United. Obviously, there has been a lot of talks about him, going on. Obviously, I'd say, like I said, he's one of our priority targets. Again, Leicester don't want to sell him. Leicester have basically priced him out the transfer market because they demanded, obviously, because they demanded an extortionate amount for him. Because obviously, they don't want to sell him. We do know he did say Manchester United are preparing to spend £80 million in. Well, Ed Woodward is keen on spending £80 million in because Ed Woodward is keen on recommending him in, and he did say we're willing to offer him a 5-year contract, rough up to 350 grand a week. But we do know it has been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling it out for Harry Maguire's services. Obviously, Manchester City are looking for the replacement for Vincent Kompany in their back line. So they have, been in for Harry Maguire. But, City, of course, are not prepared to pay up to 80 or 90 million pounds for his services. I think City, only value Harry Maguire around 50 million pounds. But I don't think, we're willing to pay up to 90 million pounds for his services. A lot of reports were coming out the other day saying that we was willing to offer Andres Pereira, to Leicester as part of the deal for Harry Maguire. Obviously, Andres Pereira is one of our fringe players. Obviously, he's had loan spells with Granada and Valencia and all that. 2 loan spells in Spain. Obviously, graduated from our youth system and all that. So he could be one of the players we're willing to offload in exchange for Harry Maguire. This obviously, this could persuade Leicester to lower their price tag. And it also said, we could offer Eric Bailly and Rojo, to Leicester as part of the deal for Harry Maguire and all that. I think Rojo would be better. Rojo as part of the deal with Harry Maguire, would be very beneficial for us because obviously, Rojo's been very inconsistent for Manchester United. He's one of the players that's looking likely to leave this summer. But if he was part of the deal with Harry Maguire, that would be very beneficial for us. I don't know about that from Leicester perspective, but Eric Bailly has been part of the deal. I wouldn't be too sure because we do know Eric Bailly has got a great potential and all that. It could be beneficial from Leicester perspective, them getting Eric Bailly and us getting Harry Maguire, because even though Eric Bailly is injury prone, he's still a very good central defender. But we need to offload at least one of our players, to try and convince Leicester to lower their price tag. But like I said, first team football would be much easier for him at Manchester United, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, than it would be for him at Manchester City, because he would find game time very difficult at Manchester City, because obviously City have got, John Stones, they've obviously, got Mendy, they've obviously, got Laporte, so he would find game time very difficult. Obviously, I think from Harry Maguire's preference, he wants to make the move to Manchester City and all that, because City are the dominant force in England at the moment, obviously not living Champions League football and all that. So yeah, I think his preferred preference is Manchester City. But yeah, like I said, Manchester United, could show him first team football. Obviously, if we were willing to pay £18 million for him or whatever, he'd make him the most expensive defender in world football, also making the most expensive English player of all time. But I initially said he's not worth 80 or 90 million pounds. He's Harry Maguire. He's been relentlessly into a move to Old Trafford. Obviously, we was in for Harry Maguire last summer, but obviously that was one of the players that Jose Mourinho actually wanted. But I don't think was Leicester wanted around 70 odd million for him last summer, but Manchester United, of course, were reluctant to pay that. But he is only 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And obviously, he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with them until 2023, is Harry Maguire. So I do believe now they are actually our two main targets, are obviously, Issa Diop and Harry Maguire and all that. But I'm going to read a bit more up about the transfer rumours, because I did miss a lot out on it yesterday and all that. But yeah, that's mainly everything to update today. But yeah, we have reportedly, this is the main part of this video was to give you the latest news about Bissaka. Reportedly, we have agreed around a £55 million fee for him. Which is very, very good news. So I do presume it's going to make him the most expensive fullback in world football. So yeah, we've agreed around the £55 million fee for him. We've previously had 2 bids, currently turned down for him. But yeah, so it's looking like he's going to be coming in now, Bissaka. Nothing's been fully finalised as yet. But hopefully, we can get the deal over the line. If we don't get the deal over the line, we are looking at, Norwich's Max Aaron, like I said, 19 years of age. Last season was his first season in the senior squad with Norwich, signed a contract last year, I think, with Norwich. But yeah, we have looked at him. But I think, Norwich have got no intentions of selling, Max Marrons. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.